Hello everyone, let's have more news about the Lakers, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. The Lakers are desperately looking to add size to their roster after making their intentions clear on building around Luka Doncic for their future and saving cap space for 2027. After DeAndre Ayton agreed to a contract buyout with the Blazers, he was widely expected to be on top of the Lakers' target list. They also lost their initial two targets in free agency, Brook Lopez to the Clippers and Clint Capella to the Rockets. But according to sources, the Lakers are targeting three other centers instead of looking at Ayton as a solution to their problems. Summarized by Clutch Points, the Lakers are looking at Nick Richards, Phoenix Suns, Yves Missi, New Orleans Pelicans, and Robert Williams, Portland Trail Blazers, as potential options to fill the starting center role. One thing in common among all three players is that they are on expiring contracts with their teams. Therefore, the Lakers will not have to give up a lot in a potential trade for either of these players, as even the Lakers have multiple expiring contracts on the team: Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura, and Maxi Kleber. Therefore, if they cannot come to an agreement with any free agent in the market, then they will likely look to trade for any of these three players. It seems like the rational choice for the Lakers, if they cannot find a suitable free agent, to then look for alternative options in the trade market. Nick Richards is expected to earn $5 million in the 2025-26 season, while Missy and Williams are expected to earn $3.3 million and $13.28 million respectively. Williams will be the best fit for a starting caliber center on this Lakers roster. Across 7 seasons in the NBA, he averaged 7.2 points and 6.9 rebounds, while shooting 72.3% from the field. Now let's go to another video. Don't forget to leave a like. Hazers already gave up a lot of size by letting Ayton go this summer. While they do have two young bigs in Donovan Clingan and Young Hansen, Williams provides the veteran experience that they need to help these young bigs excel. In my opinion, the most favorable option for the Lakers, if they cannot come to terms with Ayton, would be Yves Missi. The Pelicans center averaged 9.1 points and 8.2 rebounds in his rookie season while shooting 54.7% from the field, mostly close finishes. At 6'11", he is a perfect lob threat to go alongside Luka Doncic in the rebuild for the Lakers. He is in the second year of a team-friendly contract that has 2 years of team options. In essence, he could be in the final year of his contract if the Pelicans do not decide to pick up his team option. Missy was the 21st pick in the 2024 draft, but his future with the Pelicans is uncertain following the arrival of Derek Queen in this season's draft. Now let's go to another video. Don't forget to leave a like.
Just Lakers are up to in free agency and why they've been so quiet. Could it be that they're working a trade? I'm Trevor Lane. This is the LakersNation.com YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe right here. Keep you up to date on all things Lakers. So Dave McMenamin was on ESPN LA and had some very interesting comments here about what exactly is going on with the Lakers and the center position. This is pretty interesting. Take a listen.
I don't think that's going to happen with Horford. I'll say this. I spoke to someone with knowledge of the Lakers thinking going into day 2 of free agency. And it's not just trying to address the center position through a free agent signing. They have a couple avenues that they are, I guess, monitoring or even engaging in trade-wise to address the position.
To address the five.
The 5.
Are you at liberty to say who they're targeting?
I can't.
So, all right. So first and foremost, right there, again, a couple of things they're monitoring or engaging in to address the center position trade-wise, not just in free agency. Which free agency, by the way, as all of you know at this point, has basically come down to DeAndre Ayton or bust. Now, Al Horford still out there. Does he really solve the Lakers' problems? No, he doesn't really fit for what the Lakers need. He makes a lot of sense for the Golden State Warriors, I believe, but does Al Horford fit what the Lakers need? Not so much. So really for the Lakers, it's DeAndre Ayton and there's not really anything else. Now, Dave McMenamin is saying they're monitoring some stuff on the trade front. It might not be DeAndre Ayton, but not because they think there's another free agent, but because they're doing something on the trade front. Now, he adds a little bit to this here that I think is interesting.
Because I don't have certainty on who it is. I know one of the scenarios involves another team also dealing with the team that has the center. And the Lakers feel like when and if that trade goes through, there will be a surplus center on the roster, and the Lakers will be able to negotiate for that.
Okay.
Okay. So Why are things moving so slowly with the Lakers? Well, Dave McMenamin saying one of the things that could be happening here, that he believes one of the scenarios involves another team that has a center. They're in negotiations with a third team for a center in a deal that would land them a center. Maybe there's other pieces, maybe they're not. And the belief is that once that trade gets done, then the Lakers will be able to negotiate for the center that they want on that other team. So they're waiting for another trade to be done, which would unlock the center that they want on this roster for the Lakers to go ahead and try to make a move. Now, who that is, I'm sure we could speculate wildly. It would be irresponsible to do so, but I'm going to do it anyway. What about the Utah Jazz? What about Walker Kessler? The Jazz already got one center in use of Nurkic. What if they make another move? Could that ultimately free up Walker Kessler? Could they be waiting on something to happen there? We know the Utah Jazz are a team that very badly need to continue to make moves. They've been aggressive so far. They already waived Jordan Clarkson. They moved on from Colin Sexton. They're making moves. Could it be Walker Kessler, a player that the Lakers have been associated with for a long time? Now, again, this is me completely guessing, irresponsibly guessing at this, but just a thought. Could it be Utah? What other centers could be out there on the market that aren't DeAndre Ayton, obviously, because he is a free agent, that the Lakers could potentially go and trade for? Now, the Houston Rockets now have a surplus of centers. Do I imagine the Lakers are going to be able to get one of them? Probably not, but they just signed Steven Adams, or they're going to. Could that somehow be flipped into a sign and trade? Alperen Sengun, of course, is on the team, and they just added Clint Capella. Do they really need 3 rotation quality centers? They did run 2 bigs together quite a bit, so maybe they say, yes, we do, but maybe it could be them. Or what about the Orlando Magic, who have Goga Bitadze? Now, I'm not saying he would be the solution to all the Lakers' problems, but they have Goga Bitadze, Wendell Carter Jr. What if there's another trade they're looking at that would add a center to their roster? That's another team that could have a surplus at the center position. Right now, the Charlotte Hornets, the Indiana Pacers, and the Lakers are the primary teams that are particularly lacking at the center position. But there are other clubs out here that if they were to find a way to add somebody, maybe that does open something up for the Lakers. I wouldn't expect them to get, say, a Bam Adebayo from the Miami Heat. I mean, look, Miles Turner is a Milwaukee Buck now. Luka Doncic is a Laker. You never say never in today's NBA in terms of what could happen. What about our old friends, the Dallas Mavericks? Daniel Gafford, they specifically signed him to a contract that would allow him to remain trade eligible. They gave him an extension, but not an extension that would deny his trade eligibility and make him so he couldn't be eligible till later on in the season. So if there is another big coming to Dallas, what if Dallas is in the mix for, I don't know, what if Dallas is in the mix for John Collins with Utah? Something like that. And Dallas picks up another player, and then that makes Daniel Gafford that much more expendable. I think he already is. He's already a bit superfluous, and the Lakers can get in on that. Now, again, you'd have to suspend disbelief in that the Mavs would trade with the Lakers again, but I'm just saying how things can open up and shift the situation, and suddenly there's someone available. What about the Brooklyn Nets with Nick Claxton? What if their asking price on Nick Claxton wouldn't be quite so high if they had another center on the roster that they were looking to develop moving forward? Maybe it's something there. Again, lots of different ways we can go with this. You guys in the chat, fire it off who you guys think it could be. Now, remember, DeAndre Ayton's still sitting out there in free agency. A lot of people have said, well, Ayton, it can't be him because he's not actually a free agent until tomorrow. I believe it's at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And we've already seen guys who hit free agency sign contracts with their new teams. We saw Jordan Clarkson do it. Duncan Robinson has just done it. So there is nothing stopping DeAndre Ayton from making his intentions known. There's nothing stopping a situation where Ayton could potentially, choose the Lakers choose him, and then we get a tweet from Shams Charania saying when he clears waivers, DeAndre Ayton intends to sign with the Lakers. And that still could be coming. But why have we not seen that so far? It may not be just DeAndre Ayton not wanting the Lakers or DeAndre Ayton weighing his options or having a number of options. Perhaps the Lakers have something they feel is better than DeAndre Ayton and more of a long-term fit. Remember, Ayton does come with a lot of negativity coming out of Portland about him, about his work ethic, about the behavior that he's had. Perhaps the Lakers say, we don't want to deal with that if we don't have to. Now, I think DeAndre Ayton on a small salary is still a bargain. He was a number 1 overall pick at one point. I'm not a huge fan of his game. I've talked about it a bunch here, and the motor is a big concern. But if you're getting him on a bargain contract, if you're getting him for cheap, why not when you need a center? But perhaps the Lakers said, we want somebody that's going to be someone that we think is more of our long-term fit with Luka, and somebody that will be a bit more of a guy that we think is going to impress Luka and convince him to sign. Remember, the Lakers want Luka to sign that contract extension on August 2nd when he is eligible to do so. So I think this does throw a new wrinkle in everything. Perhaps it's a little bit of optimism getting injected into the Lakers situation right now, the Lakers sphere. And perhaps it's an explanation for why the Lakers have been not getting things done up to this point. Could it be that they're waiting for another team to work out a trade situation so that they can come through with a move of their own and land, finally, their long-term solution at the center position? Again, who that is, we don't have a great indication of it. We can guess wildly. I already did a little bit. Now it's your turn. Fire it off in the comments section. Who is this mystery team that is going to be receiving a trade, getting a big in a trade?
Might be easier, sign and trade. This is what could happen. This is what won't. Can you just shed some light on what the Lakers' plan is here? Because there has not been a whole lot of action.
Well, we came into the segment talking about LeBron, who's a wing, Luka Doncic, who's a wing, Austin Reeves, who's a wing. The Lakers still need a center, and we're in day 2 of free agency. I spoke to a source with familiarity with what the Lakers are thinking today, and they're weighing several trade scenarios, I'm told, to try to acquire this center. One of which, and I don't have the name, so we just have to, maybe rely on Bobby and the trade machine here, that they are talking to a team that they think will be going about after another trade. And that other trade will end up having a surplus center for that team, and then the Lakers can approach them.
Okay. I follow that. Now we're playing Tetris with a team that could be making a trade, and then the Lakers can slot in with this trade. You called for Bobby Marks. Let's bring him in now. Bobby, make this make sense.
I don't know what Dave just said we could do in the trade machine. As far as going there and here and here, but we're going to bring out the free agency.
First this, then
let's keep it simple. Free agency touchscreen here. This is where the Lakers are. This 182 number, because they signed Jake LaRavia to that exception yesterday, they cannot exceed 195. So we're playing with $13 million in salary. Here are your free agents that are left on the board. It has shrunk considerably. Mo Wagner, DeAndre Ayton, Al Horford, we think is spoken for already. Larry Nance Jr. has signed in Cleveland. He is off the board. And of course, Tristan Thompson, who has been there already. DeAndre Ayton is the name to keep an eye on. He's the best available. Likely in this range here, this $7.5 million, because when you put Ayton in, that gives you enough flexibility, about $6 million under that hard cap. You are restricted, first apron hard cap, to go out and add players to your roster. From a trade perspective here, Dave, we want to talk about that.
Yeah.
You have all these expiring contracts. Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, right? Certainly, you have young players like Dalton Knecht. You have your 2031 or 2032 first. So you have the trade assets if you want to go out and try to get that center that might be available out there.
Okay, so the simplest answer to this question, it seems like right now, is DeAndre Ayton. UD, does that do it for you? And does it do it, in your mind, for Luka?
DeAndre Ayton does it for me size-wise, but he doesn't do it for me when you want to unlock Luka, when you want to give Luka his best chance to be his best version. Luka thrives with vertical spacing. He needs a guy that's going to roll to the basket, make some lobs, get defenses to overreact. Then he can play his game in the pocket and do what he does best. And also, it opens up shooters. DeAndre Ayton is a guy who wants to get the ball in the post. He wants to get to the mid-range. He wants to play his game. He ain't getting the ball. The ball going to be in Luka's hand. The ball going to be in LeBron's hand. The ball going to be in Austin Reeves' hand. You have to roll your ass to the basket. And that's what he needs to do, and that is not his game. I like the size. I don't like the fit.
You know who needs a surplus center? The Lakers, because they don't need just one center. They probably need two centers, because if you look at the teams in the Western Conference, do you see Houston? Houston's got a bunch of centers. Do you see the Clippers? They got a bunch of centers.
Even what Denver just did.
Yeah. Why do you think they do that? Because they need to beat the Thunder, to beat the Nuggets, to beat the Rockets. You got to have size and depth. So yeah, they may be able to sign one of these free agents. Maybe they get DeAndre Ayton. The fact that Milwaukee ended up making this big move today was potentially helpful to the Lakers, because the Bucks were a contender for DeAndre Ayton. But they might need to do a trade and a signing to build up the roster on this team.
Brian, who ended the season? Sorry, Ramon. Who ended the season playing the 5 for the Lakers?
It was like a bunch of guys who were not 5s. Was it like LeBron, Dorian Finney-Smith, Rui
Dorian
Hachimura?
Finney-Smith, exactly. Who's on Houston right now? So.
Yeah, I mean, look, they were one of the finalists for Brook Lopez. We were all surprised that they didn't get Brook Lopez. But from what I understand, the uncertainty around LeBron James' situation, that quote caused, that everything is we've all been talking about for 3 days since the quote was issued, as factored into Brook Lopez's decision. I mean, when you're thinking about, look, Brook Lopez is a starting center in the NBA. He chose a backup role with the Los Angeles Clippers. Yeah, I think it was a little more money.
Wow.
But what they did
Certainly.
Jake LaRavia first.
Yeah.
They could have gotten Brook if they would have prioritized Brook. But in the back of it, uncertainty in Milwaukee factored into his decision as well. But the Lakers were thought of as the front runner for Brook Lopez and didn't get him. And the Los Angeles Clippers did, because there's been a lot of uncertainty around them after that statement was issued.
I mean, somebody just help me understand this. Two things can be true. I understand where LeBron is in his career, and I understand what his priority is. Rightfully so. I also understand where the LA Lakers are and what their priorities are. Rightfully so. How realistic is it that Bron leaves? Because I don't think it's a chance in hell Bron going anywhere. So how realistic is that, people? Who has the assets and who has the money to actually make that work?
Yeah, and if you're Brook
Without
Lopez,
getting stripped down to your socks.
if you're Brook Lopez and you're making that decision,
Without getting stripped down to
do you
your
want to
socks.
take a chance?
That's visceral.
Right?
So I also think it's important to note here, of course, you're totally
Yep.
right. The Lakers had very keen interest in Brook Lopez. Once he came off the board, they are shifting towards an idea. I'm told the thesis is youth and athleticism. And so obviously DeAndre Ayton would fit that. Some of that thinking is look at the two teams that played in the NBA Finals, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are in the Western Conference, the Lakers have to contend with, and the Indiana Pacers. Switchable, young defenders, about multiple bodies coming at you in waves, and they are trying to achieve a center that can play that way.
But I got your back here, UD. We kind of circled around the question and didn't totally get to the nuts and bolts of it. I'm kind of in the same boat. It's hard for me to see LeBron James leaving the Los Angeles Lakers just because we laid out all of the possible options here. There just aren't that many. And so if that's the case, then you're trying to dual path, building to make LeBron James happy now, building around Luka Doncic in the future. A lot of that comes back to a rim running center that can catch lobs. There's a whole lot of questions the Lakers have to answer.
Earlier, we had Shams and Ramona talk about how Giannis was just chilling and watching the offseason.
Yeah.
I am told LeBron's just chilling and watching the offseason. Do I think he's going to get traded? No, I do not. But if he wanted to get traded, there are teams who would step up and make offers. So those two things I think are true. And if LeBron speaks up for himself and has a different thing to say, then we could have some action. But I don't know if that'll happen.
Brian, what was that graphic on Luka Doncic? August 2nd, he has a contract decision to make. So they should be looking to make Luka happy in the now as well, not just LeBron happy in the now.
And that is the juggling act that the Los Angeles senior insider Shams Charania. Shams, Miles Turner reached an agreement to join the Bucks today, but it's how they made that flexibility that's so fascinating. What can you tell us about what went into this deal?
Malika, they reached an agreement on a 4-year, $107 million deal with Miles Turner as a free agent. That's not possible under their current salary restraints. But what they're doing is they're waiving and stretching Damian Lillard and his $113 million left on his deal. And it was made possible, all of this, with Miles Turner, because as the longest tenured Pacer, he wanted to be back in Indy, but he believed that they had given him several offers below the market value and just wanted to avert from the luxury tax. And so John Horst, the Bucs general manager, Turner's agent, Austin Brown, the last 24 hours, worked to figure out a creative pathway on this wild card type of move that allowed Miles Turner to go there. And so remember, in 2020, we saw John Horst pull off Jrue Holiday. 2023, Damian Lillard. And now here in 2025, they go and get Miles Turner in a way that no one in the league expected.
Yeah, creativity, I think, is a good way to put it here, Shams. We're going to be hearing much more from you throughout the show. Back with you in just a moment. Bobby, before we dive into this a little bit more, waving and stretching is not just what I was doing at the gym this morning. Can you just explain what that exactly means?
It wasn't what I was doing either. So Damian Lillard had $113 million owed. He had 2 years left on his contract. We're not going to get into the semantics as the formula. You take that amount of money and you stretch it over 5 years. There's a $22.5 million cap hit. It's the largest ever in NBA history. This is the largest waiver and stretch in NBA history. That sits on your books forever. That's not a live person. So that money will count against the cap. Damian Lillard will get that here. And when you look at it, this was Milwaukee's get-out-of-jail-free card at the expense of Damian Lillard as far as how they were able to go out and add a player in free agency like Miles Turner. There is the human element to this all, too. Remember, This is a player that tore his Achilles in the first round against Indiana, is one of the 75 probably greatest players of all time, and is now...
Los Angeles Lakers have shown serious interest in former Boston Celtics veteran big man Al Horford, who is now a free agent, sources tell senior NBA writer Sam Amick. Lakers are considering Horford as part of their front court plans, although the signing process might take some time. Horford, who last season averaged 9.0 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 2.1 assists per game while shooting 42.3% from the field and 36.3% from three, brings valuable experience and versatility to the paint. The Lakers' interest in Horford comes amid ongoing efforts to bolster their front court. Earlier reports revealed that Los Angeles is also pursuing free agent center DeAndre Ayton, who recently hit free agency after his stint with Portland. The Los Angeles Lakers were expected by many to be among the more active teams at the start of NBA free agency. As fans of the purple and gold know, that isn't exactly how things worked out on Monday night, as Rob Pelinka saw Dorian Finney-Smith leave for a Western Conference rival and replaced him with a less experienced, cheaper player in Jake LaRavia. Other moves made by the front office will undoubtedly be made in the coming days, but starting the offseason in this manner is making waves throughout the basketball world for all the wrong reasons. Pelinka and the Brain Trust in Los Angeles can change all of that with one trade, though. And you, fan, what do you think about Al Horford's situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.